Gordon, Corman, leadership part, and the rest of the team?
It's very difficult because we make each other laugh too much. I mean, whenever we travel, especially Gordon and me, whenever we travel, we always get in trouble because they'll take us to dinner, and Gordon and I we'll be walking down the street and we'll hang back, and he'll say something that is so funny that I can't move, and then I'll say something to him, and Gordon doesn't laugh that much, but somehow we make each other laugh, and Gordon will practically be convulsing like he's sick from laughing so much, and the two of us will be like, we'll be like 9-year-olds, just laugh. And then from the restaurant, the people from Scholastic will be looking out the door and they'll be saying, "Guys, come on, we're already ordering." So it's very tough. It's hard. It's fun. Linda Sue Park, everybody's so awesome among the writers. I think that to write this kind of a book, you have to have a sense of humor and a sense of fun. And when you put 5 of us together, or 4, or 2, or 3, it's dangerous.
And I have a follow-up question. It's actually very rare for an entire series to have different authors. So what made you think of having that many authors for one series?
Yeah.
One series of books?
Well, we didn't think of it. It was Scholastic. We didn't know. It really has never been done before, I don't think. Right? And so one day I got a phone call from Scholastic, and they said, and I've been working for them for years. And they said, "Come on down, we have an idea for you." And I thought, well, you're a publisher. You're not supposed to have ideas for writers. Writers are supposed to have ideas for the publisher. So they said, "No, we can't tell you. Come on down." So I went down to the office, and they opened the door. They let me in. And they closed the door, and they locked it. And you don't usually lock a door, right? And I'm like, what is going on? And I turned around, and there was Gordon Corman and Jude Watson sitting there. And I said, "Do you guys know what's going on?" And they said, "No." I said, "Okay." So we sat down, and the publisher, said, "Okay, this is top secret here." And they made us sign secrecy agreements. Seriously. We weren't able to tell anybody. And they said, Rick Riordan came in with this idea, but he's not going to be able to write any more than just one book because he's so busy with Percy Jackson. But it's a great idea. And here's what we want to do. We want to make this into something completely different. Have an online game, so that kids can get involved in the series. That's never been done before. And we want the books to come out fast. Because if one writer is writing the book, it's going to take 9 months to a year for each book, like the Percy Jackson series. So, but we want to do that faster. So we thought if we had a multi-author series, we could do it every 3 months. One person could write a book, the next person could be starting the next book, and the next person could be beginning to think about the next book. We don't know if we can do it. We don't know if it'll work, but we think that we'll be able to do this. What do you think? And they chose us because we all have a similar style to Rick Riordan, and because we all had written a lot of action-adventure series for Scholastic. And so we kind of looked at each other and we said, "Okay," and we signed this. Anyway, so my son was working at Scholastic as an intern. My son, he was about 19 or 18 or something. And after I was done, I was going to take him out to lunch, so I said, "Hey, Nick, let's go out to lunch." And he said, "What were you here for, Dad?" And I said, "I can't tell you. I had to sign this agreement." And he said, "Oh, you mean you're going to be working on the 39 clues?" I said, "How did you know?" And he said, "Well, they wanted to test it on somebody young to see if they thought it was a good idea, so they gave me everything." So he knew about it before I did. So he's the biggest fan so far.
What can you say about Filipino readers who made 7 Wonders in the top of the list?
What can I say about Filipino readers? The best. They're the best. Filipino readers are the most enthusiastic of any of the fans. Seriously.
Thank you.
It's true. And I love it. I mean, every day I'm getting new Facebook friends, new Twitter followers, and you all are not at all shy about saying what you feel. It's very different. The readers in the United States are not quite as open, and I appreciate it very much. It's because I know that the fans back home feel the same way, and I read a lot of them and I get a lot of the enthusiasm, but they're not quite so open about it, which all of the Filipino fans are, and it's beautiful.
A follow-up question for that, sir. What can you say about the 21st century readers with all the technologies and gadgets that they can use to keep up to those authors of the books?
I think, I think you are living in a golden age of reading because there's so many different methods now. At the beginning, everyone was afraid about electronic media, affecting reading in a bad way. But that was back when before handhelds, handheld devices. Because in the publishing profession, everybody was saying nobody would possibly want to read a book on a computer screen, and then all of a sudden there were e-books and
Audiobooks.
and smartphones and everything. And then everyone was saying, oh, now nobody's going to want to read because they're going to be paying attention to games. And that's why the publishers came up with ideas like the 39 Clues. I think the 39 Clues started in that meeting that I was telling you about.
Yes.
That was in 2007.
Oh.
And I think already the first book had been written or was close to being written. So it was the beginning of 2007, maybe the end of 2006 when it started. So that was right at the beginning of all of that. And I think that what Scholastic recognized, which was very smart, was that this was an opportunity, not something bad, but an opportunity for readers to bring people into the world of reading. So that just go there, go to where the readers are. Don't be afraid of it, but go there and bring reading into that world. So I think it's worked really beautifully. I think that people are reading in all different kind of media and storytelling. It's all about telling a story. And if you can tell the story in a book, if you can tell the story in an e-book, in any kind of electronic medium, it's still a story. So I think it's a great, I think this is a great age. I think you guys are so lucky. Especially as you get older, when you go traveling, maybe now this is happening, when you travel a lot and you read a lot and you don't have to have,
Lots of
stacks of books loading down your suitcase. It's fantastic. How could that be bad? It's great.
Another question. You are a Harvard graduate and a bachelor in biochemistry, correct?
That's correct.
What makes you follow your ambition in writing? Also, you excel more in the dramatic arts and musical production. Is your passion for music and acting a great factor in writing your great stories overrated?
Oh, thanks. Well, first of all, the only things I ever wanted to do for a living, ever, were writing and performing, ever. But I came from a Greek immigrant family in the United States, and I was the oldest in my family. And when I was at school, I really felt that everybody was looking at me to be the big shining star in my family. And I thought that meant when I went to college that I had to give up all of the things that I thought that my parents thought were hobbies, like writing and performing. But I really wanted to do them. So when I got to college, I thought, well, I have to do something serious, right? And I was very good in the sciences, and I liked the sciences. And all my roommates were pre-medical. They were all becoming doctors, right? And I like that, but I would be a terrible doctor. I faint at the sight of blood. And I said, okay, so maybe I'll try research. And then I tried it, and research is great, but it wasn't for me. It was too long. It was too, you work for 10 years just to find one little thing. And I needed something faster and more exciting for me. So after 2 years, I'd finished all my requirements for biochemistry, and I thought, well, I don't really want to do this as a living. What I want to do is something else. So I took different kinds of courses, graduated, and I thought, okay, well, now I have to decide what I want to do for a living. So maybe I'll go to law school. So I worked in a law firm. I applied to law school. I got into law school, and then I thought, okay, I'm in law school, and I don't want to do it right now. I don't. I just didn't want to, because I really wanted to do writing and performing. I said, okay, I'm young, I'm going to try it. And if I fail, then at least I tried. So I started doing theater, I started acting, and immediately I started working. And almost within a year, I was in a Broadway show. And I thought, great. So I did acting for 8 years, but in between acting jobs, I had to do something to make a living. And so I started editing books, just freelance, just to make a living, and I loved it. And then while I was editing books, I went back to writing books, and I loved that even more. So I was writing, editing, and acting all at the same time. And at one point, I had to choose because I was getting married, I wanted to have a family, and the writing was going better than the other two. And it's something I just always dreamed of doing. And I thought, okay, that's it. And I never looked back. I've been doing that ever since.
Thanks, sir. Another one. Some writers have their weird customs or weird behavior when writing or thinking a story. Do you have any peculiar things you always do when you're writing a story?
I do, you mean...
Like some ritual, right? Like someone travels, some goes to orphanage, like that. It's some inspiration.
Well, I get up, when I get up in the morning, I run. I like running. I run in Central Park. I live near Central Park in New York City. It's beautiful. And that helps because it gets first thing in the morning, I can think about plots and characters while I'm not running. And I find that helps a lot. It also gives me some exercise and gets the day off to a good start. And then basically I spend the rest of the day worrying. It takes me a long time to start writing a book. I worry. The voice in your book is the most important thing. When I start, I have to get the voice exactly right. And if it's wrong, I can't continue. So I'll sometimes spend a week writing one page. And I'll go back to the beginning and it's just not right, just not right, just not right. And I get discouraged and I go take a walk and I come back and I do shopping and I come back and I do emails and I come back and it's just terribly inefficient. And then by the end of the day I feel like a failure. And then it happens the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And finally, I hit the voice, and it may be a week. And then the next week, I doubt it the whole time. And I just redo it again. But then I get a little further and a little further. And then finally, second or third week, it starts to take some momentum. And then I get more efficient. Then, the middle of the book toward the end, then I start giving myself goals, daily goals. So for instance, 5 pages, 6 pages, 10 pages a day. And I stick to those. And I make sure that I write those 10 pages, or however many pages I set for that day. And if I finish, by lunchtime, I'm done. And if it takes me till 2 in the morning, I stay until I finish. And some days are easier, some days are harder. By the end of the book, the characters are so alive inside my head. And I almost feel like I'm in a different state of consciousness. And I can work through the whole night. I sometimes work all night long. And I'll look out the window and the sun will be rising. And I'll think, where did the time go? And I can keep going the next day. It's just so exciting and it's so transporting that sometimes I can write 40 pages a day. They won't necessarily be great, but I can always fix them the next day. So it's very, for me it's very uneven, but it really begins very almost with a stutter, and it ends in a sprint.
So for the last, this is actually a request from one of our dear members. Kind of said you were into drama before. Can you do a demo? Demonstration?
Of drama?
Yeah, anything.
This whole thing is a demonstration of drama.
How about any musical? After all, we have a lot of fun here.
A what?
Fan of the opera.
You're a fan of...
Fan of the opera.
Fan of the opera? Oh, I don't really know if I know those songs from the pipe. The Phantom of the Opera is here. That's the only thing I remember from the Phantom of the Opera. What else? If you name me a song, I'll sing it for you. What do you know?
How about any lines from any play you acted?
Oh, I don't. It's been 25 years. I don't remember any of them. It's a long time.
How about a line from your favorite movie?
A line from my favorite movie. Oh, gosh, you're really putting me on the spot. Maria, I just met a girl named Maria, and suddenly that name will never be the same to me. Maria, oh, this is a children's book author, I shouldn't be singing this. I just kissed a girl named Maria, and suddenly I found how wonderful a sound can be. Maria, say it loud and there's music playing. Say it soft and it's almost like praying. Maria, I just met a... That's the wrong word. I'll never stop saying Maria. Oh boy, I'm going to regret that.
Okay, so I think they have some books signed.